Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5. This week was very interesting because not only did we get the onslaught of Christmas Day movie releases, it pretty much happens every year where a bunch of movies come out on Christmas Day that people can't see because they're enjoying the holiday season. So thanks, Hollywood. That's a really brilliant idea of yours to release them on Christmas Day. Jerks. Anyways, not only that, but also Star Wars in its second weekend. Everyone wants to see how it did. Did it do better? Did it do a little worse? We're gonna find out. Of course, my predictions for last week were that number 1 would be Star Wars again, and I predicted that the number of a make was 150 to 170, something around that. And then I predicted that number 2 would be Daddy's Home. Then I predicted number 3 would be The Big Short. Then I predicted that number 4 would be Joy, and that number 5 would be Concussion. And of course, I only got 2 out of my predictions correct, which is just amazing. But at least I get double points because not only was Star Wars number 1 at the box office once again, but it actually did make $153 million this weekend. So technically my prediction of 150 to 170 is correct. Ha ha! Also, that 153 million adds to a great total of 544 million. This film is doing better than any film. Like, Jurassic World, how big that was? This is getting to almost 600 million faster than Jurassic World did. This did better than the Avengers as well. And honestly, guys, I'm seriously going to predict that it's going to do better than Avatar. I mean, it's literally 200 away from Avatar's domestic gross of 700 million. That's insane. Of course it is. And I've also heard that it just passed $1 billion around the world. So, yeah, Avatar, watch your frickin' back. You're about to be dethroned, hopefully. But yeah, and you might be wondering, Jackson, how many times have you seen Star Wars in a total? 3. I have seen Star Wars 3 times. And I am not ashamed. Anyways, number 2 was Daddy's Home, making a surprisingly big number in my opinion, $38 million on a budget of 50. This is honestly really surprising to me that it made this much. I know that a lot of people have already seen Star Wars, but the number is still really big, so I'm a little shocked that Daddy's Home did as well as it did, but you know what, it was Christmas, people want to see a fun family film instead of a epic, amazing, awesome Star Wars movie, if that makes sense, I guess? I don't know, I haven't seen it, but the reviews aren't that great for it, so I don't really care to see it. Anyways, number 3 was Joy. It made $17 million this weekend, and it's on a budget of 60, so a lot of people will probably think, oh, Joy's bombing. Well, not really, because as soon as some people have seen Star Wars enough, and they're like, alright, time to see something new, they might head out to see Joy, and the numbers will start to rise a bit. So Joy is probably gonna do just fine. Unless the reviews of it scared people away from it, then maybe it is bombing. Who knows? Number 4 was Sisters. It beat out Alvin and the Chipmunks this weekend. Isn't that great? That Alvin and the Chipmunks may have beaten Sisters last weekend, but this weekend Sisters comes back to kick its butt. Thank goodness. And I know some people don't like Sisters. It has like a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that, so it's not the best movie in the world, and I haven't seen it, so I can't really say my opinion on it, but it's up against Alvin and the Chipmunks. So, yeah, and I don't like chipmunks. So, yeah, Sisters made $13 million this weekend, and that adds to a total of $37 million. So you guys see, last weekend when I said that Sisters would make more money when more people who had seen Star Wars decided not to see it again, see, now Sisters has made over its budget, and that's just amazing, because it certainly did better than number 5, being Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip. It only made $12 million this weekend, adding to a total of $39 million on a budget of 90. It is still bombing. Hooray! And I know I haven't seen the movie, but do I have to? The Rotten Tomatoes score says it all, pretty much. I mean, yeah, I don't need to see Road Chip. What was that? Anyways, number 6 was Concussion, making $11 million on a budget of 35. So this one's a little closer to its budget, so I don't think it's really in that much trouble. It's an Oscar-ish movie because the reviews aren't great for the movie, but there's a lot of buzz for Will Smith's performance. So some people will probably want to go see this movie to see what Will Smith is all about, because I hear that Will Smith is really good in it. I kind of do want to see Concussion eventually, but I don't really know. But we'll see about that. Number 7 was my prediction for number 3, The Big Short. It made $10,520,000 this weekend, adding to a total of $16 million. And it's only $12 million away from its budget, so I think it'll get there in no time. And I kind of realized that maybe The Big Short wouldn't be number 3 like a couple days ago when I went to look up if The Big Short was at my local movie theater, because I have a movie theater that's close to me, then one that's a little farther but still close, and it wasn't at the one really close to me. So yeah, I kind of knew, okay, it's not going to do amazing or anything like that. But you know what? It's not bombing or anything. There's some pretty good buzz behind this film, and I do want to see it eventually because it's intriguing to me. Anyways, number 8 is Point Break. No, not the one with Keanu Reeves or Patrick Swayze. Yeah, that's right, the new one, the 2015 one. It made $10,220,000 on a budget of $105 million. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have another box office flop of 2015. Give it up to Point Break, the remake. I actually haven't seen the original Point Break, but I hear it's pretty good. I basically hear that this remake took a giant crap on the original, so I'm never going to see this remake, and I probably will just watch the original at some point. Anyways, number 9 was The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. Where was Mockingjay Part 2 last week? Like, number 4? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was number 4. Now it's all the way down to number 9. It only made $5 million, adding to a total of $264 million. That's really cool that Star Wars and a couple other random movies were able to just take down Mockingjay from its throne, because Mockingjay, as much as I thought it was a good movie, I didn't really think it was the best conclusion to the Hunger Games series that we could have gotten. But it doesn't really matter because I still like the movie. It already made over its budget of $160 million, so it's doing fine. It's just I'm glad Star Wars is doing absolutely 100% way better. And closing out the top 10, number 10 was Creed. It looks like we're going to have to be saying goodbye to this movie. It made $4 million, adding to a total of $96 million, and that's pretty good. It has made $61 million more than its budget of $35 million, which is very good. I still have not seen any of the Rocky movies. I know, I'll get on it eventually. So I was not able to see Creed, but I heard great things about it. It's probably going to be on a bunch of top 10 lists for best of the year. I heard that Sylvester Stallone actually pulled off a good performance for once, so that's actually really intriguing. I hope to see it soon, just haven't been able to. So everyone, let's say goodbye to Creed, which is apparently a really amazing movie. Bye, Creed. And the fun part, predicting next week's top 5. And you want to know why it's fun? Because there's only one movie coming out, and that would be The Hateful Eight. Now, you may be asking, Jackson, didn't The Hateful Eight come out this weekend? Why, yes it did, but it only came out in limited theater. So it's going to be expanding next weekend on January 1st, according to IMDb. So I'm going to predict that Star Wars is still going to be number 1. I think it's going to be like at around $100 million that weekend. I think it's going to make around that, maybe a little less. We'll see what happens, and I'm going to predict that number 2 is The Hateful Eight, because Quentin Tarantino is a masterful director, and a lot of people want to see his films, obviously. And then I'm going to predict that number 3 is Daddy's Home. I'm going to predict that number 4 is Joy, and I'm going to predict that number 5 is Sisters. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave them in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this weekend, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then sorry. Hate doing that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.